I'm really excited that you're here to be able to share some insights and called to be for God and to be able to step into the next thing that God's called us to.
Growing up, I saw a lot of bad things. I saw my parents get separated when I was 5. They were divorced by the time I was 7. And we were able to see the family a lot of times. Mom gone, working, doing different things like that. And you get exposed to stuff that is very toxic. You get exposed to things now that you can tell on TV or something, they call it entertainment. But I saw a lot of that stuff as a kid. And also as a kid, I saw a lot of poverty. When I was a very young man in my community, living in this castle, all I saw was black. And even though I was in a poverty-stricken area, I always had an inclination to help people. I wanted to do that.
Today's guest grew up under the beliefs and stories that tried to keep him small. He hit rock bottom and thought that it was the end, but it discovered that it was actually the foundation for the life and the legacy that God was waiting for him. If you've ever felt overlooked and secretly afraid to take that first step, this conversation is your permission slip, because your next level doesn't come by waiting, it comes by moving. So my friends, sit back, kick back, and let's get started. For this is the School of Influence. Hey, welcome everybody. I'm your host, Devin Schubert, also known as the Man in Orange, and I'm excited to bring to you this session of the School of Influence. Today's guest is living proof that your beginnings might explain you, but they don't get to define you. He grew up as one of 5 kids, raised by a single mom on the rough streets of Chicago. He left home at age 16, made all the mistakes, ran fast, and nearly lost it all. But then one small crack of light through personal development showed him that he was created for so much more. Since then, he's become an ordained minister, a 4-time author, a corporate trainer, and a coach to clients across 5 continents. He's a husband, a father, and above all, he's an unashamed ambassador of Christ. So help me welcome my friend, Les Allen.
Hi, Devin. How you doing tonight?
Hey,
There's a lot. I got this thing, man. I've been dealing with a lot of people in business, and they know I'm a Christian businessman. The first thing they tell me is they don't like church, they don't want to be preached to, and they don't want this and that happening in their lives, right? And I always ask them, do you want to be treated with honesty, with integrity, with respect, with goodwill? And do you want a man to give you his word and stand on the word? Of course I do. Well, that's what we do. We do that. And when we do that, we're not preaching to them. We're living out the Christian value that the world needs to see in us, right? As a member of the body of Christ, I feel like I represent you and everybody else on the planet who calls Christ their Lord. So I feel like it's incumbent upon me to live out these principles and these values in the marketplace, whether you're secular or not. And when you do that, the next thing you know, those people that are making those comments about being preached to, and they say, well, I've never met a real Christian before, man, you're different. But yeah, I'm really not different. They're just speaking things that they've heard and not things that they live out in most cases. So we all have a chance to deal with people like that in the marketplace.
Yeah, no, it's so true. It's so true. There's so many times that people go out there and they think that everything that they say, they have to be preaching at somebody, they have to be speaking at somebody there instead of building relationship with them. When I was in social work, we couldn't talk about God because it worked for the state and all this and that. But when we recognize that it's the life that we live, it's the stories that we tell, it's the way that we love people is the most important aspect of being able to share God with people, living life to life. That's what Jesus did. He got down and dirty. He was there with the people and showed them the love. And yes, words are powerful, but words without action are pointless. And I'm really excited that you're here to be able to share some insights and be able to help people dive into deeper of what it looks like to be all that we're called to be for God and to be able to step into the next thing that God's called us to. Well, pardon the interruption, but let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like your story was meant to impact thousands or millions of lives, but you literally just didn't know where to start? Did you know that there's over 2.9 billion people watching social media every single day? That's literally the biggest stage in the entire world. And yet most people are completely invisible on it. Why? Because they don't know how to tell their story in a way that actually connects to other people. And that, my friends, is exactly why I created Stories to Stages. We help you craft your entire story, professionally edit your video, and then we publish it across all major platforms. Plus, I'm gonna give you access to my entire storytelling bootcamp. This is over $25,000 worth of value, but right now, you can get the entire thing for just $7. $7. Because this isn't just a course, this is a launching pad. We've helped people with no audience, no experience, finally share their story with confidence and to get real reach. Because your story told in the right way involves and moves people. So go to stories2stages.com and grab your $7 spot with the code of podcast1. Your story was not meant to stay silent. So let's get seen, let's get heard, let's get paid, and let's set people free. So go to stories2stages.com, grab your $7 spot, and use the code podcast1 and get yours today. Now, back to the show.
Well, one thing I can say for sure, and I read a lot of scripture, but I don't see easy in there anywhere. Jesus never said it would be easy, but he is telling us it's necessary when he make a commandment. It's necessary that we do certain things, and it's necessary that we leave certain things behind, right? And one of the things that we need to leave behind most often is fear of what other people are thinking. Because most of the time, other people aren't thinking about us. They're thinking about themselves. They're thinking about their problems. They're thinking about how they're going to get food on the table. They're thinking about how many hours they got to work to get the things like that. So while they're thinking about that, I'm living out the values that I committed to live out the day I got born again. So by doing that and by realizing that it's not about me, it's about the body that I represent. It's about the people that I represent. It's about the people that are on this call. It's about people being willing to stand up and do the right thing and say the right thing. But we always speak the truth in love. We're not condemners. We're not judgers. We're not there to condemn people and run people away. And like I said, fire and brimstone them. But we are to draw people in. Right?
Yeah, I completely agree. And I feel like it's because of a lot of times it's because we come out of a place of experience. We come out of a place that, we know what God has saved us from. We know and understand that grace. We understand that mercy. So take us back. Take us back to what was it like growing up in Chicago, one of 5 kids, being raised by a single mom. How did that start kind of shape into what we're talking about now?
Well, I tell you what, one thing I can tell you is that at growing up, I saw a lot of bad things. I saw my parents get separated when I was 5. It was by the time I was 7. And we were able to see the family a lot of times, mom gone, working, doing different things like that. And you get exposed to stuff that is very toxic. We get exposed to things now that you can turn on the TV or something, they call it entertainment. But I saw a lot of that stuff as a kid. And also as a kid, I saw a lot of poverty, right? A lot of poverty, a lot of poor people. When I was a very young man in my community, living in this castle, all I saw was black. And even though I was in a poverty-stricken area, I always had an inclination to help people. I wanted to do that. I didn't see myself as being poor. I saw myself as wanting to make a difference and keep alive. And the only role model I had, the black man, was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And I saw him get put in jail and eventually executed for trying to do the right thing. So you talk about putting a fear in the heart of the kid. That's something to say, hey, if I do the right thing, somebody gonna kill me? Is somebody gonna take me out for trying to do the right thing? And also back at that time, I didn't know that I had white brothers and sisters, red brothers and sisters, yellow brothers and sisters, and brown brothers and sisters. When I thought about helping my people, all I saw at the time was blacks. But that's because I had I want to call it a systematic limiting beliefs on who I am, what my brothers and sisters are, my view of the world, and being confined to an area It's like being in a box or like being in a cage. Until you get outside that box or that cage, you don't realize how big and great the world around you is and what kind of brothers and sisters you have, I didn't know I had a brother named Devin Schubert. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I had no idea. Now, you take a kid from Chicago, where I was, where everything was black. We moved to a suburban, rural, all-white community. So I went from one extreme to the other, but we learned so much by seeing other people, meeting other people, and interacting with other people. And so does they. But coming out of the city, man, we were raw. Yeah, we were raw, man. I mean, even the language, the cussing, all the little stuff you get on the city streets, and all that stuff, and all the poverty, and all the things I saw, still didn't change my mind about wanting to help people, about wanting to make a difference in the lives of people. So fast forward a couple of years, I'm 11 years old, 11 to 12 years old. I go in the house with my mom. I said, Mom, I want to be a politician when I grow up. She stops what she's doing. She turned around and she looked at me. She said, boy, you can't be a politician. I said, well, how come, Mom? She said, you can't be an honest man to be a politician too. But she don't realize she stole my dream at that time. And growing up, that was just one thing. But I figured I'd go from there to public relations, right? I don't have to be a politician, but I got to find a way to help people some kind of way. And I didn't know exactly what that was. So at the time, I didn't know how I was going to help people, how I was going to work with people. I just know I always had that inkling in my heart to do something for humanity. I wanted to make sure while I lived in this life, I was able to make a difference in someone's life, right? I didn't know what that would look like and what it would cost. But along the way, you always get those naysayers. And when you don't know any better, you tend to listen to them. I mean, you can have a misguidance counselor in school. I did say misguidance counselor in school, telling you what you can't do. Don't think about that. So don't go that directly. You're too short, you're too tall, you're too white, you're too black, you're too skinny. So you got people telling you all this stuff for the reasons why you can't do things, man, and you start listening to that garbage. And next thing you know, you get on a treadmill of mediocrity. You ain't going nowhere because you let that stuff infect you, right? So what I want to tell people tonight is don't let it infect you. Rise and sound in the name of Jesus. All you is created to be. The vision you see is the vision you were created to be. God didn't do us anything that's not possible for us. So for me, it took me a long time and a lot of prayer from understanding that, right? And the biggest limitation I found for me was me. It wasn't what anyone else said. It wasn't what anyone else thought. It wasn't, and it isn't what anyone else does. It's what I believe and who I believe. Do I believe them or do I believe the God that saved me from myself? Come on. And it was all me. All the things I've done, all the bad decisions I made, they were all me. And believing those things were things that I chose at a naive state in life. You choose to believe people that are adult when you're a child, right? And by them having limiting beliefs and by them being oppressed and depressed, they're putting that same garbage on you, and they're just dumping it on you like a bucket of garbage, and you just can't have that. Can't have people talking us out of our dreams. We can't have people talking us out of who God created us to do. Let's say we got to rise and sound in the name of Jesus. That means something. That's why it means something to me, man.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I believe that, for those of you listening, if you've gotten in your own way, if you've allowed naysayers to come in, drop in the comments. Let us know that these are things that, we're speaking to you. You're getting it. Les, I believe that most people think that when they hit rock bottom, that's where dreams die. But it's actually where the foundations get laid. Like, your foundation is getting laid at that point. If you're willing to clear out the junk, there's so much junk that happens at rock bottom that people tend to focus on those naysayers and listen, and it forms their identity into these lies that they're not. And your foundation is at that rock bottom. What are you going to build that foundation on?
That's absolutely right. Sometimes we have to become an archaeologist of our own soul and dig up all the garbage and get it out of there. Until we get it out of there, it will stay. And when you hit that rock bottom, that is where you surrender. That's where the trajectory of your life changes. So you have a leaping pad to jump off of. Now you stand on solid rock instead of standing on sands, right? So when you get to that place, you have to be willing to go there. You have to go there. You have to be willing to dig up the garbage. Let the garbage go. You know, it's not going to do anything for you. It's not going to change you. It's going to hold you back, right? And a lot of us have and I want to start calling some of the garbage strongholds. We get to believe we think in our mind. We get all wrapped up inside the things about ourselves that just aren't truth, right? And until when we wake up and find out that all those things were a lie, you're going like, why did it take so long? Well, because it took a long time to decide that we were willing to go there.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And I love, one of your teachings is, and that you talk about a lot, is that, we're either our greatest asset or we're our greatest liability. And so you're always going to be one or the other, but the actual battle is in here.
It absolutely is. And the thing about it is, we can get on that treadmill and stay on it for decades, or we can get off of it today. We can go into dead end job after dead end job after dead end job after dead end job, looking for happiness, looking for purpose, but our happiness will never find our purpose in the job, right? Our purpose is in God's hand, why He created us. So basically, what your job is a means to an end. You can make a lot of money on a job, but you weren't put here just for a job. You were put here for a purpose, right? So when you start asking yourselves the right questions, and sometimes very, very tough questions about things you did, about things you didn't do, you're not supposed to beat yourself up or condemn yourself. You need to get over yourself. I had to get over myself. I'm not going to tell you about anything that I had to go through. I had to go through some mess because I made some mess, right? I made some mess, and by the grace of God, it's only by the grace of God. And I can't even hardly contain myself when I say that.
Yeah.
It's only by the grace of God, guys. We have to believe in something bigger and better than ourselves, because there's someone bigger and better than us who had the phenomenal plan for us. So here's the thing. There's an executive of the biggest, largest business in the history of the world want to partner with you. He's saying to you, I am the Lord your God that you should be the prophet that leads you in the way that you should go. And you should remember the Lord your God, for it is He that gives you the power to get well authority. He may establish a covenant with you. Here's one who owns it all trying to establish a covenant with us. And we're stuck in our own mess. So much so that we can't say yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I hear you, Lord. I hear you. I'm tired of me. I've had enough of me. I want more of you. And it does so much of me. So,
yeah. Well, I think that's all so important for us to understand of what the Lord had shared with me, is that, you get your identity from the Creator, not the creation. And having all these things come at us, and people coming at us, and all the things that are there. But the reality is God's the one speaking to us. We are to be obedient to Him, and that produces the influence that we get to have on the world. If we receive from Him, we say yes, be obedient, we can now release the influence to the world. And I love one of your stories where you talk about that you faced some prejudice, you faced some opportunities in the corporate world. So tell us a little bit about that.
So yeah, I had a situation in my career where I worked for a company, and the guy that was my boss was a boss of the big division manager. And I've been working for the company about 3 years, working very, very hard, doing everything, really exceeding all the guys around me. But I wasn't going anywhere. The guy that was my boss, he kept making excuses. So I befriended him. When I was patient enough to gain his trust. And I asked him, I said, I never played a race car, but I can't help but think, do not give me the promotion because I'm black. I said, is any of that true? And he said, I'm sorry to admit it, but yeah, it is too, but I didn't think the other guys wanted me to do that, right? I didn't think the other guys would approve of me promoting me. So, need to say that kind of just confirmed what I was thinking. It made me a little bit angry, but what I decided to do is I decided to get all the management in the room and talk to them. And eventually I got to be that guy's boss. And what I did is I treated him with honor and respect. I didn't go back and try to do anything to him. I didn't try to retaliate. I showed him what it's like to be a teammate, what it's like to be a man, to treat a man like a man. Despite the thing that he might have felt, he might have done, he was trying to please other people instead of recognizing a man, he's in there doing his work and not just trying to be his buddy. But I was in there doing a job. I was in there for my family. I was in there to do the best I could do. And I wasn't going to let that negativity infect me and change my life and make me a rotten, bitter person would prevent you from moving forward. So I took that opportunity as the energy, as a positive. Hey, I need to take this thing and prove who I am. I need to stand up who I am. I need to show I'm the best man in here and the best man in here who deserves to be the physician. And I got to be all those guys' boss. So it worked out that way. And just showed me that you can get bitter, you can get better. You know, you get negative, or you can say, you know what? I'm going to take that negativity and turn it into positive energy because I'm going to move forward. And I'm not going to move backward, because when you react to situations like that, and I'm going to tell you something right now, I didn't play the race car, and this is the last car in the deck. If the only car, I still didn't play it, there's a better way to do it. Go out there and win. Go out there and keep working. Go out there and persevere. Never looked at the guy with a frown, never did anything like that. And it wasn't me. It wasn't me, Coach. That was Grace, man. And the human part of me was upset, but because that helped me back with money for a couple of years. But I eventually made it all more and more over and over and over again. So 10 times over. So that's not it. The thing about it is I had God on my side. And I just walked in it. And I walk like it. And I keep on walking like it.
Yeah. Yeah. So if some of the listeners are struggling in their corporate job or with their boss or a coworker, what are some of the things that helped you be able to stand up, to be able to challenge the lies, to be able to not continue to play small ball?
Well, the thing about it is, when we have our eyes on the corner office, we can't see the four corners of the world. When we have our eyes on the four corners of the world, which we were called to go into, we bypass the corner office. When we find out our purpose, then we see our job as a means to an end. Once you know what you're here for, you don't find your identity in your job. You find your identity in your purpose and the causes for which you stand. And then the things in your job become so much more easy because you outgrow them. You outgrow the position. You outgrow the titles. I go on job, people try to make titles for me. So when you say, when I talk about clients helping people out, I say, I help professionals break down barriers and rise to the peak of their purpose without compromising their character or values. And when I say break down barriers, it's not the people in the workplace, it's the thoughts in your mind more than the people in the workplace. Because the thoughts in your mind are what defeat you. The people in your workplace can't defeat you unless you let them. You can let them defeat you, and they will defeat you. But if you can be led by your spirit, your thoughts in your mind will be in order. They'll be organized. They'll be teacher, right? So you're not to retaliate. You're not retaliating. You don't have to do that. You'll get the victory. You'll get the victory by knowing what your purpose is and pursuing it at all times. Don't worry about what the guy on the left is thinking, what the guy on the right is thinking. Keep your eyes on the prize. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, and it's so good. We can't get distracted by things that are going on around us. And, it may be a daily thing that you have going on, and you get to be able to make that choice of, I'm not going to allow that to bother me. I'm going to be the bigger person. I'm going to continue to pray. I'm going to operate out of a place of rest, all these different things. But then there's also the times to where, emergency happens or, an accident happens, and we have to then, be able to immediately step into a place of, what am I going to do? And I know there was a point in your life to where your wife got into was in intensive care and things like that.
Yeah, very recently. Yeah, that was this year.
Okay.
That was this year. And it was totally out of nowhere. It was something that was very different for us. There was a scare there, but we just moved on in faith, and we prayed, and we had to go through a couple of procedures, but the Lord prevailed and kept her, and we ran to some other people in the hospital. We started praying for other people. But we actually had a grandbaby while we were in the hospital. Got a chance to go see her. So this is all happening at the same time, and God was such a trooper through it all. And me, I'm pacing the floor like, but I wasn't worried. I was just being faithful. I mean, I'm pacing the floor in prayer, man, hands on her, because we have to know we don't wait till we have an urgency or a tragedy to start praying. We make sure we have a spiritual account that is full. There's a whole world out there that needs our prayer, that needs us to stand in the gap for their family because they haven't, or they don't know how, or they feel self-condemned. They won't go before the Lord. So we have to be prayed up and stayed up for not only our brothers and sisters in Christ, but also for the lost, for the backsliders, for the widow, for the orphans, things like that. So, and we just can't get caught up in ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that, whether there's situations that pop up, all these different scenarios that could happen, it's focusing on the blessings that are still in front of you. Just because a bad situation happened doesn't mean that God left. Doesn't mean that there's still not blessings. It doesn't mean that there's still not favor. Doesn't mean that there's still not influence that you're having. And it's the mindset. It's the overflow. This is an opportunity for you to dig deep into that well and be able to operate out of that. And it's the way that we get to put things back into God's hands and saying, Lord, I don't know how to deal with this. I don't know how to be able to handle this. But that handing over, that putting it back in God's hands is really how your legacy begins to be able to show other people, because people are always watching you. People always know that there's something going on. And, a part of this school of influence that we have here in this show is to help people recognize that you're going to have obstacles come in your way, but you cannot let that stop the influence that you are called to have. And so, as we continue to grow in our leadership, as we continue to grow in our relationship with the Lord, as we continue to grow, whether it be on social media or making connections or speaking on stages, what are some of the ways that you feel that we can be able to take that step forward?
Well, the one thing that's very important is momentum comes by inches. It doesn't come by miles. So don't avoid taking the small steps and the small actions, because that's where momentum comes from. You start with the inches, then you get the feet, then you get the yards, and then you get the mile. But momentum starts by inches, not by mile. And you have to take your eyes off the enemy's eyes and put them on the heavenly Father. And that, when you get a download from heaven, it's not to give you hope, it's to give you perfects. And we have to understand that we all can get download from heaven because it's speaking to us all the time. So, when I look back at my past, I thought, wait a minute, I'm not subject to anything I have victory over. I have victory over everything that's behind me. If you're here today, you're over yesterday. You got victory over yesterday. You have to look at it like you have victory over yesterday. So think about that for a minute. I mean, I'm over yesterday.
Yeah.
I've got victory over yesterday. So we have to think about that, right? And right now, today is a clear indication that we're over yesterday. For all of us, man. It's all of us. So take that with you, because really, life doesn't discriminate. It's going to happen to all of us.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is, are we going to let it happen to us? Are we going to happen to it?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to happen to us. It happened for us. It's nothing to each one of us, right? So I've had a lot of days when I've been down.
Mm-hmm.
A lot, and if I stayed in those days, I'm going to be something prime today. So legacy lives when you give birth and feed it like a newborn baby. So it's just stand up and do something different. Challenge yourself like you never challenged yourself before. This is a one-on-one. You will do it. It doesn't matter if the fastest man in the world runs against the next fastest man in the world, he's running against the clock. He's not running against that other man. He's racing against himself. He's not racing against anyone else. I'm the fastest guy in the world. I'm not racing against that man over there. I'm not concerned about what he's doing. I'm racing against myself and that time clock. And I'm going to tell you something right now. Time is our worst enemy.
Yep.
Don't ever think time's your friend, because he's your worst enemy.
Yeah.
Time and procrastination are two sides of a two-headed coin. Same, you know what I'm saying. Anyway, that. But so life demands action from us, right? It does. I mean, we got to do something. We got to do something or we die.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, excuses won't build your business or pay your bills. And you know what? You can't take excuses into heaven, so forget about it.
Yeah.
You might as well leave them right now. You will not take these people through the pearly gate. So, and the excuses are just the stories we tell ourselves because we're afraid to act. When we're afraid to act, we kind of make up something. Sometimes we get really creative. And all we got to do is remember move an inch.
Yeah.
This moving inch. You don't let excuses go. I mean, sometimes we're so familiar with the excuses, we call them by name. So let them go 1 inch. 1 inch a day. 1 inch a day is all we have to take, right? I can't begin to count the number of excuses I made in my lifetime. None of them worked. They worked against me. That's the only thing. They worked against me. They never worked for me. You know, I mean, it just made me I was putting things off.
Yeah.
I was putting things off and just really not standing up and being the man I'm supposed to be. You know, that's me talking to me. You know, I've done it. I've done it, you know, right? So basically, when you are, the opportunities we have each and every day, especially in the United States of America, you move all excuses. You're in the United States of America, you're born again, you're a believer, you got Christ on your side. What more do you need?
Yeah. Yeah.
What more do you need, man? I mean, just think about it. Take it and run with it. Take it and run with it, man. I mean, it's just, sometimes we gotta, you know, we got a Lord that said, you know, I'll never leave you or forsake you.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not gonna carry you either. I'm gonna take you up in the nest like the eagle does the thief, and I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna watch you soar. And though I'll never leave you, I won't do it for you anymore. You got to do it for yourself. Wake up, warrior, and rise like the sun. The wait is over. Your time has come. Get up and do it. So, you know, even though we don't know all our brothers and sisters, we all one body. We are cheerleaders one another. And when I said that the cheerleaders one another, think about Hebrews 12:1. It says, seeing we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, living and dead, let us lay aside every weight and the sin and the fear that so easily entangles us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us. Looking on to Jesus, keep your eyes on the prize. We'll finish with our faith, you know. So we got that thing going for us, brother. And I want to make sure that all our brothers and sisters here tonight know that they're not alone.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that, you know, in order to run, we have to not make an excuse on why we can't run, because, you know, a lot of times what we see in front of us is not even real. It's just because you're not being obedient. But it's that one footstep. One footstep is the first thing you got to take. And that beginning step, a lot of times, is a step of faith. And that step of faith has to come before you're going to get that breakthrough. And I believe that so many people get stuck before breakthrough happens. And all you are is one step away. One of the things I trained inside of my Influence Academy is about when people feel like, oh, I don't know where to go, I don't know what to do, you're stuck. I believe that 2 Corinthians talks about how we go from glory to glory. And I believe what happens when we're stuck is that we're stuck in between two glories. And so what do you do when you're stuck in between two glories? You don't know where to go. You don't know which way is up from down. You can't hear the Lord. You don't know what to do. You go back to the last glory. What's the last thing that God told you? What's the last piece of influence that you had on somebody around you? What's the last Facebook post that went out there that people were responding to? What's resonating with people? What is God speaking to you? And then look forward again. Now you can take that step forward. Now you're ready for that breakthrough to happen. But if you don't take the first step, or you make excuses to where you're veering off, or you get shiny object syndrome, or you got distracted, you immediately are losing out on what the fullness of what God has for you.
Yes, absolutely. And what's very important for us to realize is that when we're in those moments of doubt, belief is a prerequisite to success. Okay, and also when you think about that, belief is also a seed, and faith is the fruit of beliefs acted on. We have to understand that if you want to build a skyscraper, you got to lay the first brick. You know, and if you want to change the world, you have to start by changing ourselves, changing our mindset, changing what we believe, understanding what it means to be led by the Spirit and not led by emotions. You know, I mean, that is where we miss it sometimes. We don't understand that we're spirit-fed and spirit-led. We're not supposed to be led by our feelings.
Yes.
We're supposed to be led by a spirit that can be felt, but never led by our feelings. Because feelings are fickle. They're whimsical. You can't trust them. You know, though, when it comes down, like I said, it won't change where you start yourselves. But here's another thing for everybody who want to be a thought leader or influencer, anything up like that. If you would get your mind off of sales and put them on service, you'll see stability. So don't get so broke you can't pay attention. And you know, and stop thinking about what other people think about you, because no one thinks about you more than we do. And so if you don't want to think about you most, you better be having some good thoughts. I mean, you really. And one more thing, guys, I'm gonna give you guys something that you really want to take away with you. If you're waiting for perfection, it ain't coming. It's not coming. So don't wait another minute for it, because it's not coming. One more day, the devil wants you to put it off for one more day. Yeah. He wants you put it off one more. If I can get them to put it off this one more day, you know, whatever it sounds like. But anyway, I don't know everybody on this call personally, but I do know that you can succeed. I do know that because you were created to succeed. Being fruitful and multiply is a commandment, right? But what I believe won't make you successful. It's what you believe that makes you successful, and what you basically believe. So,
No, it's good. That's good. So, Les, for the person listening right now who's maybe stuck in their mindset, stuck in not hearing from God, or don't feel like they can hear from God, don't know what to do next. Maybe they're actually still just waiting on God to do something, which they should do. Or they're waiting on something from their past to let go. What would you say to them? How would you encourage somebody who's just feeling in a season of stuck?
I would encourage you by saying, go to Devin's Facebook page and get a copy of Wake Up Warrior, You Are the Light of the World. It's free this weekend. It's ebook free. Now, the thing about this book, there's a lot of question prompting here, right? So it's a lot of blank spaces to answer questions like these. And it's, you know, there's a lot of good questions in the book, but get it, and it asks you about your thoughts. It asks you, there's the Wake Up Warrior section is about 7 steps you have to take. Okay, so the first section is about be on the fast track. You know, the way you start off life, like I did, start out on the fast track, getting in the corporate world. So the first part 1 is the way on the fast track. Part 2 is fueled by faith, and that is probably that section of this book is my favorite writing that I've written. I've written some very, very God honoring writings. The third part is called the profession, and the fourth part is called the transformation. All through the book, there's questions that you'll be asked, right? And really, it don't cost you nothing to get it, but it may cost you everything not to get it. So go Devin's web Facebook page or I can drop a link that
The links. We'll have the links in here for it. Y'all can
go get it. But if you're stuck, you have to make the decision not to try to dig your way out, but to find that rock bottom we were talking about. Because you need to find some solid footing, some solid foundation that you could be confident that you can move from, that could be a springboard for you to get to the next step. So if you're stuck and you try to dig your way up or dig your way out, right? How do you know by digging your way down, is it your way out?
That's good. That's good.
And that's what we're afraid that to make some mistakes, and I don't lie. You're gonna make some mistakes. There are lots of mistakes. You're gonna make some mistake after mistake after mistake. Yeah. Right? If I had $1 for every mistake I made, I'd have been retired a long time ago. But anyway, you're gonna make it. So let's go ahead and do it. Let your heart beat with passion.
Yeah.
Just let your heart stop holding your breath and let your heart beat with passion. You commissioned and commanded to be proof of the most part, like I said. So I got a question I want to ask to some of our friends, and I want some people to put some answers in the chat. What's stopping? What's holding you back? Answer those questions, and if you say I'm stuck, don't ever say it again. Don't ever say you're stuck again. Because we get talked about momentum starts with inches. Move 1 inch. Up, down, sideways, back, forward, move 1 inch. You're not stuck. Change the story you tell yourself. I did. I had to.
Yeah.
I had to. I mean, it really did.
Yes. That's good. That's good. And it's so important that we recognize that there's just one step in the right direction could change the momentum of everything that you do. And so that's amazing things. And yeah, we'll drop all the links to be able to connect with Les and to be able to follow him, to be able to get some of his books. He's got some amazing ones out there. I've got all of them, and he signed one for me, so I'm really excited about that. When I got to meet him in California, it was a total surprise.
Yeah.
That
It was good. It was awesome. It was awesome, man.
It was so good. It was so good. Les, if you had one opportunity to leave a mic drop moment for the listeners here, what would you want them to walk away remembering this conversation by?
This may sound a little bit strange, but you're the most important person in your life. And so am I. But without you, there is no life. You love your family, you love your children, but you got to understand, you're the most important person in your life. What you tell yourself is extremely important. What you believe about yourself is extremely important. It will make your birthday. And if it's true that you can change it today, I mean, you should just change today. But I got a really a mic drop thing that I put together for this meeting. I want to share with you guys if you really want it.
Let's do it. Come on.
And it's called, it's a commencement declaration or permission granted. I am alive, awake, available, and willing to be, do, and to have what God planned for me from the foundation of the world. I will not fear man or beast, for greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. I will not cower in the face of opposition, but there is nothing wrong with being and doing right as I serve the living God with all of my heart and soul. The day is a gift, and now I own it. I'll not waste it by spending it. I will sow it like a seed, for today is investment capital that is irreplaceable. Once it's gone, it's gone. But the seed I plant today will bear fruit for generations to come. I am fearfully and wonderfully made for divine purpose. I will ask, seek, and knock until questions are answered, until what's sought is caught, until doors are open, until what's inside me, what's sought is caught, until doors are open. I am more than a conqueror because love is on my side, in my side, and by my side. He fixed me where I was broke. He loosed me where I was bound. He healed me where I was sick. He made me alive when I am dead. I am overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of my testimony. I live, not I, but Christ lives in me. But greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. I will live for the cause of Christ until it is finished.
Amen. Amen. Come on.
Hey, I thought I wasn't ever sweat, man. But I think we all need to know that we've been given permission already. We've been given permission. We're commissioned and commanded to go. It never tells us to stop after we say go.
Yeah. Amen. Amen. Awesome. Well, for those of you watching, thank you guys for jumping in. Les, thanks for jumping on here and to be able to share with us and impart into us, the power of influence, what we have. And today, Les reminded us that your influence doesn't start when your past finally lets you go. It starts when you decide to stop letting it hold you back. Your biggest limitation might just be the lies that you've never challenged, that you've never tried to overcome. And that one small footstep of faith that can turn what seems like complete darkness into the very breakthrough that you have been praying for. And so for today, school is dismissed, but your influence never takes a day off. So stay bold, stay focused, and go and leave your legacy.
Amen.
Bye.
All right.